Caution, this video deals with dangerous chemicals. I don't take any responsibility for what you do in your own time. In this video, I'll be showing you how to take some nasty green drain cleaner and turn it into crystal clear, concentrated sulfuric acid. To get started, you'll need a thick-walled beaker, a hot plate you don't really care about, some hydrogen peroxide minus 29%, and some organic drain cleaner. On the side I have some broken glass chips. Those are optional, but I'd recommend it for bubbling stones. The most important thing when choosing your sulfuric acid is making sure that it only has organics in it and it's already relatively concentrated. Super Albert Drain Cleaner is the one that I would go with, and if you have access to it, I'd recommend you get it as well. So to begin, I emptied out the rest of my 1 liter drain cleaner into a beaker. This approximated to around 500 mils. Next, around 7.5 mils of hydrogen peroxide were measured out. I realized the graduated cylinder I grabbed was too small, story of my life, so I grabbed a funnel, made it bigger, and then I could accurately pour out the 7.5 mils. It doesn't exactly need to be on point, just around is good. After 8 mils was poured, I then removed the funnel and started to add it to the sulfuric acid. Now you may be wondering, why are you doing this? Because in a sense, you're pretty much diluting the sulfuric acid. But there's organic inhibitors in the sulfuric acid right now that actually stop it from eating away your drain pipes. So upon addition of the hydrogen peroxide, you make what's called a piranha solution, which eats away all of the organics. So here I grab a carbon rod, because I don't have a glass rod, to stir the carbon-eating solution. That is what we call a blonde moment. Anyways, you can see the smoke evolving. That's just because I poured it all in one place. After drying it off with another organic paper towel, I then moved it outside to a hot plate. You can see I wrapped the beaker in some aluminum foil because it needs to get really hot to boil off the extra water in the sulfuric acid solution. How hot? Well, about as hot as your mom on a Sunday afternoon on the beach. Anyways, I add in some glass boiling chips just to make sure it all boils nice and smooth. And I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you don't want to use a hot plate that you like, just because getting so hot it could actually demagnetize the stir bar, and you'll see at the end mine cracks. Here's what the solution looks like 15 minutes after cranking the heat to max. The color changes are already starting. And as the time progresses to half hour in, you can already see some sulfuric acid fumes. At 45 minutes in, the solution starts to fume a whole lot more and it clears up even more. At the 1 hour mark, the fumes were very, very thick and the solution was clear, so I assumed it was at 98% concentration. It was at this point, about 10 minutes later or so, when I knew it wasn't actually concentrating anymore, I turned off the heat. It's now that I start removing the aluminum foil just to allow the solution to start to cool off. Now, be really careful here because one slip, the beaker falls, and you get a chemical burn that even the Germans couldn't achieve in World War II. So because you have 200 some degrees sulfuric acid, I put mine in some water just to try and cool it off. Now I let it air cool to about 100 Celsius before I did, to avoid shocking the beaker. Now once the solution was ample cool, I moved it to a storage container. This concentrated sulfuric acid is actually hygroscopic, meaning it will suck moisture in from the air and get diluted over time. So it's important to seal it in an airtight container. However, right now it's still pretty warm, and as sulfuric acid cools off, it occupies less and less volume, so just make sure it's cooled off to around room temperature before you actually seal it in a vessel. Otherwise, you'll get a negative pressure. And you can avoid the fact that I'm pouring like a gremlin right now with 3 fingers. It was kind of awkward to stay out of the frame. In the end, I'm left with just over 400 mils of 98% sulfuric acid. That's after I took a specific gravity test, and 98% is as good as it gets. On the left, you can see I did a run without the hydrogen peroxide, and it's visibly discolored. So if you found this method useful or helpful, please leave a like, comment, I'll respond to it, and watch some ads so I can get some revenue and buy new beakers. Thanks, see ya.